Hello everyone. Today I'll be attempting to photograph the collared pratincoal, the Kentish plover, and the blue-cheeked bee-eater. I'll also be trying to find the chestnut-bellied sandgrouse. The location is essentially a large farm complex split up by long gravel roads. I found the place after checking eBird for collared pratincoal hotspots. After seeing a few checklists, I noticed that the sandgrouse was quite common, and from what I saw, it appeared that the Kentish plovers and collared pratincoals were found there nearly every day. The site is behind the farms and is made up of two main lakes. I'll be going to the one on the left and then the one on the right. And after what felt like ages, I exit the farms right before sunrise and begin my journey. I started off next to this garbage dump site and scanned the area along the lakes. I stopped at this location after finding some Kentish plovers, and then I headed in between the two lakes. It was here where I found exactly what I was looking for. Although it was difficult to see at first, I spotted this pratincoal after it was spreading its wings. However, after closer inspection, I realized that we were surrounded by them. I decided that I must get out of the car because it was producing a haze since the air around the car was too hot. I opened the door very carefully so I don't scare the birds, and then I put my camera outside the window. I quickly get onto the ground. I spooked a couple of birds, but they flew right back. And after crawling away from the car, I looked to my left and realized that there were even more birds. Unfortunately, the camera shutter spooked them, but it was fine since they came right after. The collared pratincoal is a medium-sized waiter. It is larger than the typical plover or sandpiper since it is almost double their size. From May to August, these birds breed in small colonies, and that is why these birds are present here in the UAE and extra tolerant of people. Here there is a brief overpass of a bird of prey. This triggers the broken wing display of the pratincoal. It is used to lure predators away from the nest, making the bird think that perhaps the pratincoal is injured while it is just trying to protect its nest. The pratincoals seem to be living quite comfortably here, and despite the desert heat, these lakes will be the pratincoals' home for the next few months. Meanwhile, This Kentish plover was quite grumpy that I was giving the practicals all the attention, so I took it up on its invitation and went to photograph the plovers. The Kentish plover is one of the smallest shorebirds you can find in the UAE. It is a very hyper bird and very cute too. Another bird of prey passes over, so now the plover must take some cover. And similar to the collared practical, this bird has its own broken wing display, and luckily the plover survives unharmed. It takes a look at its neighbor's nest and makes sure the coast is clear before going to its own eggs. This plover looks exhausted as it nests on its eggs, so I will leave the plovers and practicals some peace and quiet and I'll move on. With the sun higher, I could see where the stench was coming from. Dead animals littered the area, since these lakes served as a dump site for farmers. But it's all worth it since the practicals were here. A group of camels passed by. They are going to the garbage pile, but I'm still not certain as to what exactly they are eating here. I observe these camels as they pass by, then I head on to the second lake. But first I have to say goodbye to this Kentish plover family. I found some bee-eaters here. This bee-eater steals the other one's food, but unfortunately the conditions were not suitable for photography since the sun was in front of me and since they were perched on a metal fence. On my way back, I was able to see one of the most beautiful birds the UAE has to offer, even though they are hard to see if you're not looking for them. The Arabian green bee-eater. The Arabian green bee-eater is one of 3 bee-eaters that can commonly be found in the UAE. It is an insectivore, highly agile and skilled to catch insects midair. This bird must smash the insect against the hard surface in order to kill it, therefore making it suitable to eat. Another bee-eater landed on the same perch, but this one has a messier plumage. It has a bee in its beak, and so it must rub the bee against the branch so it can discard the stinger, making it safe to eat. And as for the sand grouse, they were nowhere to be seen. So instead, I decide to pass by the camels one more time before I leave.